The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Yo, welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, in the SWBC studio. I had to bring the energy. I'm sorry. It was only right. It's draft day.
We've been waiting all off season for this. Finally,
I know.
Finally.
Cowboys,
Man,
baby, they got some stuff to do.
They do. But I mean, for you guys, obviously you all have kind of been in the whole rotation of an off season, NFL season. How is it just kind of seeing these new rookies every year in and year out?
Oh, I enjoy it.
Really?
I love seeing them look like deer in headlights. I think it's for some of them, it is a humbling experience to come in and to basically be starting off. I see a lot of myself when I joined the military, and them. It's like, I kind of heard some things about it. I know some people who have served. I know some people, they've told me about their experiences, but there's nothing until you understand, what it's like, especially here. They have to earn that star on their helmet. So that, they don't come in just getting those things. So it's interesting just to see them adjust, and then we've had the pleasure of being here. This is my second year, so then seeing rookies from last year and what they matured into this season, this past season, it's exciting, and I'm excited. I'm ready to see who our. I can't wait to see how our Nuggets are going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it.
They are
like
Nuggets.
that military term. Nuggets coming into boot camp and see how they're shaped and molded. I feel the same way. It's an energy. It's almost kind of like the first day of baseball season, where fan bases, not just Cowboys, but across the league, have new hope, and there's all that focus of looking forward to something, and then the first day of baseball is here, and I think it's that way, looking forward to the draft and then seeing who the Cowboys have. But I love what you say about them coming in and they're so young. Gosh, I hate to turn back the clock over 30 years ago, but the draft, the first round, started on Saturday mornings. And it went all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And so back in the day, it was really a lot of fun to cover the draft, covering the Cowboys, because Jerry did it up. And especially in the early 90s, the Cowboys had a lot of early draft picks. And so what would happen is the pick would be made in the morning. Jerry would send the jet to pick up that player and his family. They were here by, say, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They'd be given a tour, and the press conference would be right then. That afternoon, there was no waiting. They're given their jersey. But you talk about coming in, and they're kind of wide-eyed and innocent and everything. Remember one of the first drafts I covered, and Alvin Harper was drafted. He was the second of 2 first-round picks, and he came in, and he was so shy. I mean, and soft-spoken, and not even really making any eye contact. He was so shy. But by the end of the year, we had him for a Cowboys radio show on Monday night, and it was he and Michael Irvin, and Michael had taught him well, because as they're leaving the steakhouse where we're having this, they're trying to order bottles of Dom to go. So it didn't take Alvin long to pick it up, but I just remember him being so shy and not even making eye contact when he came in. So, it's fun to see the new players come in, and then hopefully they make it through their first contract, re-sign with the Cowboys, and we get to see them for the long term.
I've never experienced it. This is my first NFL offseason and NFL draft I get to experience with you ladies, so I'm excited. It's gonna be
what are you most excited about?
I think for me, I have to put on my rookie hat that I had on heading into college, playing college tennis at Howard University, go HU. But no, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how they come in, whether you see some that are already natural leaders, see the talent that kind of meshes in with the players that I already have here at the Cowboys. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited about a lot. Also for the guys who were rookies this past season that I got to kind of meet, and how they kind of grow and help these younger guys coming in. So it'll be a lot of fun, long days. But what else was really long? That press conference on Tuesday with head coach Mike McCarthy, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, and executive vice president Stephen Jones. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what they had to say. and maybe not.
But to answer your question, I think I'm answering it. But the question is, in my mind, about all of this, how do we feel about where we've been in this free agency? We feel great about what we've been in free agency. All in. All in. All in. We're all in with these young guys coming on. And we're all in with this draft.
Gotta love to hear.
Why were you squinting when you said all in?
Wait. Before we get to diving into the all in comments, guys, we gotta go ahead and take our first caller, Fernando out of Miami. What you got for us, Fernando?
What's up, ladies?
Good
morning.
How are you?
Good. First of all, when I'm speaking in a sentence, the word particles, when can I use it? Is that like a Batman thing? Like when Robin would be like, particles, Batman.
No, basically, it's just a filler word. Wherever you feel like you maybe shouldn't curse, but you want to.
That keeps me up at night. I'm like, how can I use particles?
You can use it in a lot of instances.
You can use it as a verb, a noun, transitive, intransitive, dangling preposition.
It got
It's
range.
up to you, Fernando.
It got range.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. So like right now I'm on, so it's like particles.
Yep.
Can I use it?
Yeah, you can.
Sure.
Live it up.
Good. All right, first question. This might be for Christy. This is going to be quick. Christy, when the Cowboys lost to the Giants, this is a long time ago, and Romo went to Mexico and everything, what happened to Julius Jones in that game? Because I don't know if they benched him, because I know Marion Barber played that whole game, and I always thought if Julius would have played a little, maybe we could have won that game.
Gosh, Fernando, I don't remember Julius being benched. I think that you're right. Marion got the majority of those carries. I don't remember an injury either. I think it may have been, I'd have to go back and look, but if memory serves me correctly, it was more of going with the hot hand and a more physical style of running. But
Right.
I can look more into that and go back and see if I can find my notes from then, but make sure that it wasn't anything injury related. But you got to kind of remember that was the time where Marion was really coming on as well. So,
I mean, the only thing I remember, he was good and he ran hard, but he didn't have the breakaway speed. And I always thought, if they used Julius a little in this game on a screen, on something, maybe that game could have been won. But,
more of a home run hitter, so to speak, in terms of, making something after the second level. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and my last question is, on these shows, everybody talks about, let's get more draft picks, let's move down. But then I'm thinking, sometimes these guys are like, let's put these guys on the practice squad, and then you have a couple of picks, like 9 or 10, but then they lose them. They try to put them on the practice squad. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't even try to move down for that. And I'm also, in the past, there used to be 12 rounds in the NFL. Now there's only 7. And it seems like the draft departments, they get a little break. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's a 7th-round pick. It didn't work out. It's just a 7th-round pick. But before it was 12 rounds, and then you would get free agents like Romo, like Michael Downs, Everson Walls. So I'm thinking, are these dudes doing their job the way they should be doing it? Because there's a lot of free agents that Bill Bates that make it, and, that's only 7 rounds. And when these guys, it's just, when they don't hit on a 7th-round pick, they just say, oh, it's a 7th round. They're no big deal. I think every pick, and if you don't hit on every pick, especially when it's 7, there's an issue. And I think it's all over the NFL.
Yeah, so priority free agents, I think, is what you're talking about, Fernando. And so that would be guys that you might have 6th or 7th round picks on, maybe even 5th round picks, and they fall in the draft. And so you try and sign them right away. I mean, you've got the list of guys, you're already in contact with them. As soon as the draft is over and the 7th round ends, you're trying to sign those guys. Of course, so are 31 other teams. But I like your point about the question of whether it's best to accumulate a lot of picks, later ones in the draft. For example, the Cowboys have 2 7th-round picks tonight. Do you go for quantity, a lot of picks, especially the final day, or quantity?
I want quantity. I want quality.
See,
I want quality.
I do too. Yeah. And here's why. Because let me share with you, this is the veteran Cowboys, and this is by the draft round. So I look at the 7th round, and there's only one 7th-round pick that's currently on the roster, and that's Jalen Brooks. And you look at the 6th round, and this would include players from other teams. So, for example, Racey McMath, who's a Cowboy now, but he was drafted by Tennessee, not by Dallas. But of the 6th round, there are 5 players that were drafted in the 6th round in the NFL, and only one of them is a true contributor for the Cowboys and a solid core guy, and that's Donovan Wilson. Now, one of them is Deuce Vaughn, who's just had his rookie year and barely got to play, so kind of unfair. Give him time. But if you look at the 5th-round picks, there are 5 Dallas Cowboys that were drafted in the 5th round, and really Deron Bland and Damone Clark are the only solid, regular contributors. The others are Matt Waletzko, Awesome Richards, who was a rookie last year. Both of those are offensive linemen. Waletzko, of course, has had lots of shoulder injury, injury situations. And then Snoop Connor, who you got as a free agent running back, he was drafted by Jacksonville. The Cowboys have done very well in the 4th round in terms of Dak Prescott, Jake Ferguson, Martavis Bryant, who I think is going to be fun to watch. He was drafted by Pittsburgh, but
yes, the receiver.
But it's the undrafted free agents, the Brandon Aubreys, the Marquise Bells, the T.J. Bass, Hunter Lipke, those guys, Terrence Steele, Wanye Thomas, Kavonte Turpin, Cooper Rush. So. Yeah, the Cowboys, and that's not just Cowboys. That's across the board in the NFL. You can say that you're getting as much from undrafted free agents as you are from a lot of your 6th, 7th, and even 5th-round draft picks.
The Cowboys take undrafted free agency a little bit more seriously.
Absolutely.
I believe, than
always have historically.
Yeah,
another quickie. One of our worst drafts that I remember was the one with Victor Butler, the linebacker / defensive end. I know Jerry. I was watching the draft, and Jerry kept moving out and getting picks and moving out and getting picks. And then we got like 12 picks or 13 picks, and I think the only one that hit was Victor Butler. And I remember watching that draft, and there were quality guys there. And Jerry was like, "No, we're moving out. We're getting out of the 28th. We're going to go to the 12th in the second." He was just doing all that. And it was a horrible draft. So you give me a Michael Jordan, okay? I know that's basketball. You give me a Michael Jordan on a team, and we'll work around that. Forget all these dudes and blah, 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 because they might be cut or, they'll try to put them on the practice squad, and then they'll be picked up by somebody else. You give me the best player.
Yeah, well, if there were only true Michael Jordans, those are once-in-a-generation players, unfortunately. Yeah. But, hey, they can be out there, and hopefully you get like – thanks for checking in all the way from Miami.
Thank you so much.
No, you guys are great. Tater tots.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, ladies, wow. Fernando.
I love it. That's awesome. Bringing the energy. Where are you on the quantity over quality, or sometimes it's not up to you. The quality stuff, if you are winning 12 games in a row for a few years in a row, you're not going to have high draft picks.
I agree with him. Oh, go ahead.
So sometimes you don't have the capital to move up for what a lot of the fan base and media would say quality picks, because, we think of that as the top end of the round, or top half of the round.
As long as the quantity is quality.
Okay.
See what I did there?
I love that.
I synced it.
As long as the quantity is quality, I'm good. That's all that matters for me. Thank you, Jazzy. I got my first little ding. Come on.
It's an experience.
It's an experience. But no, for sure, I'm going to stick with that answer. Now, I know the whole trade back situations, they want more picks because we only have 7. I'm sticking with it. As long as it's quality picks, I'm good.
I agree with him that there is I don't know, there's kind of, I'm not going to say it's a carelessness, because if I'm not mistaken, Cowboys took Eric Scott last year, and they had done a lot of research on him. He wasn't someone I remember us in the room, we were like, we missed this guy, like, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
which happens, right? And so I will say, sometimes it does feel like maybe they don't, that people in the NFL or teams in the NFL don't take like that 6th and 7th round as seriously as you want to, or later on it's like, oh well, this guy got cut. It's not as big of a deal because he's a 6th, 7th rounder, but that's not the case. Like, you need to do well in those situations. But I also do think that the Cowboys use the undrafted free agency like it's very much so. It's an extension of the draft already, but it's serious to them because they pay their guys in undrafted free agency quite a bit as well.
Yeah, oftentimes the priority undrafted free agents get some guaranteed contracts, like there are several that get guaranteed contracts, and their signing bonuses can often be as much or more than a 6th or 7th round pick. And just one last point before we move on, and that is the expansion of the practice squad. Since it was because of COVID, was going to be like 12 that year. They expanded in 2020 because of COVID. But you can take those later picks and just like the undrafted rookie free agents and stash them on that and develop them. So sometimes we don't hear about these later round picks in the NFL, but they are developing. They're may get cut, but then they're re-signed immediately to that team's practice squad.
All right, well, ladies, we have another caller before we take our first break. We've got Andrew out of Colorado Springs. What do you got for us, Andrew?
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, good morning, ladies.
Good
Happy
morning.
Draft Day.
Happy draft day.
Happy.
Yeah, right. So, hey, first of all, I love the show. It seems like y'all are the only show that ever has current players on the show. So I always think that's kind of cool hearing from them, kind of in a different light than kind of just behind the camera. But that's always cool. But hey, question here is, you guys got your ear to the ground there a little bit. Whether it's a trade back, or picking at 24, who's the gut feeling? Who's the player that we're going to draft today? Each of you.
Aisha?
Right. I don't know. I think that there's some validity to. I just around this time I started listening to whose name am I hearing across more, and listen. It's Kingsley. How do you say it?
Suamataia. There we go. I didn't want to get it wrong
The
today.
BYU kid.
The
There we go.
BYU kid.
We just call him BYU kid.
So Suamataia and Graham Barton are two names that I just keep hearing. However, I do think that, when I say hearing, I mean the different media outlets. Like I hear people mentioning their names and things like that. But I do think that they could surprise us, and the way that we talked about it yesterday on the draft show, and even we talked about it on off record, Nicole, is that there are a lot of offensive players in this draft. And especially at the top level, some people have 19. Some people are anticipating that this might break records this draft of how many offensive players are taken in the first round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think some fantastic defensive players are going to fall.
Yeah.
And I understand that you want to improve your offensive line and things like that, and with the tackle position specifically, it's good at the top. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they see a guy there defensively that's in their face, and that's what their board is if they go that route. So
you think Byron Murphy would fall that far?
I think that Byron Murphy is higher. Like he's not
10.
attainable like that.
Yeah,
to me.
he's top half of the first round.
But I will say that this receiver class and some of these guys, Nick thinks is going to be run on corner. It's. He may not be where a lot of people think that they are, but there are other defensive players that I think could be in that conversation as well. So, anyway, I do think that it's going to be. I think that if it's not an offensive lineman, it's going to be maybe a defensive player we do not expect.
All right.
What do you think, Nicole?
Hey.
Who do you think they're going to take?
I'm hoping that we draft an offensive lineman. Just because I was trying to calculate the numbers. 17 out of the first 23 teams need either an interior lineman, and 20 of the first 23 teams need a tackle. So I'm not sure. I hope Graham Barton will be there or around 24, but I know we need an offensive lineman.
Yeah. And then, but it's a moving target because, for example, the Saints had one of their veteran offensive linemen retire, surprisingly to many, earlier this week. And so I think that changed a lot of mock drafts because, You know, I mean, some people had the Saints going offensive line anyway, but now it's like, are they going to look even harder at that position now? I think that whether you're watching the draft in Colorado Springs or wherever in Cowboys Nation, we know that the top QBs are going to go early. They're going to fly off the board. But you need, like, the Penixes and the Bo Nixes of the world, you need teams to be desperate that don't get in the early part of it, and quarterbacks are overdrafted. And so will you have some teams move in and try and take that? You want that because that means more of those offensive linemen, or to Aisha's point, some of the defensive studs are going to fall to you. And I wish I could tell you. If I had to predict, I'd probably say Barton, but I just kind of feel like it'll be more like a Travis Frederick kind of year where they traded down, picked up an extra pick, and it was Terrence Williams that year. And then a few years ago, when they traded down with Micah Parsons and ended up with an extra pick, it ended up being Chauncey Golston, who's a valuable role player for this team. So without a fourth-round pick, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I know a lot of people are saying the Cowboys may trade down, but if history is any indication, history is a prelude, right? And so I just kind of think that's very likely.
Well, thank you for your question.
Right? Oh, thank you, Andrew.
Love
thank
it.
you.
Hey, yes, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, who do you think they're going to take?
I think the gut feeling is going to be, if he's there, Graham Barton. But I agree with Aisha, and I think they might just pull the trigger on our guy from BYU, which I wouldn't necessarily be mad at because, they got scouting for a reason, right? So if they see something, they see something. We just need to protect Dak. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Guys.
But no, certainly, I know.
I wave like he can see me.
I know. It's okay.
Pain.
It's okay.
They can see you. They're on camera. Say hey.
It's okay. But no, I know if they do draft an offensive lineman, I'm sure the Cowboys won't miss on them because since 2010, all of the linemen that they've drafted in the first round have been all pros.
Ooh. Come on, stats. Come on, numbers.
Including Tyler Smith, who was at 24
last year. Hello, let's talk about it.
And he's good at both.
Yes.
He's good at tackle. He's good at guard. He's special.
Yeah, I just wish you wouldn't have said that you're sure, because I feel like, oh my gosh,
I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Don't put the kibosh on it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Jinx.
All right, ladies, we're gonna take our first break of the show. We've got Aisha's insights coming up on the next break. You're watching Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Register now for 2024 Dallas Cowboys Youth Football and Dance Camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from the best this summer at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Register for 2 or 3 day camps before May 17th to save $25. Visit DallasCowboys.com/camps. Again, save $25 if you register before May 17th. And the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, the current squad, they are the instructors for the Dance Academy, and then local football coaches here in the North Texas area are the coaches for the football camp, and it's really a lot of fun. So before May 17th to save $25.
And speaking of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and Dallas Cowboys players, they will be at the Tostitos Championship Plaza tonight, 6:30. Be there. We've got live draft coverage. Of course, your very own Aisha Morrison will be there on the show. Hello. I need you to sound a little bit more excited than that. We got food and drinks that will be there, giveaways, and more blue performances as well. So just make sure that you are there. I'll be in there too, trying to talk to fans.
I think it's gonna hit me. I think it's gonna hit me in like the next few hours. Like, it's nothing. It's nothing like when you sit in the room and then it starts happening. You do get an adrenaline rush. Like,
really?
But I think it hasn't hit me yet. No, it like for real. Like when they choose the player. When you start seeing the clock, like the Cowboys on the clock, you're going to feel it. You like, because you just know Twitter's about to blow up. You just know everyone. And just it's that first pick is just, it's a big deal. Yeah. So I haven't gotten there yet, but I know once I like sit in the seat, it's gonna hit me.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get a chance to, before we take our next caller, we didn't get a chance to talk about the statements from the press conference. And Jerry Jones said, we are all in the players, all in with the draft. What's y'all's thoughts? And what should all in be for the Dallas Cowboys heading into tonight's draft of night 1?
My therapist told me that when I realized that people are gaslighting me, it's okay to say that it's not okay for them to be gaslighting me. I feel gaslit.
I'm sick of you.
I feel like I'm on fire.
Why?
Because you cannot have the free agency you had where you really predominantly lost a lot. You didn't even lose just role player guys. Like, you've lost starters. And then to say all in, and you're repeating it. Like, it's like it's on rewind.
Yeah.
And us as we're looking at this stuff. Like, we're looking at the lack of movement and stuff during free agency. We're looking at these players, some of your top players. What happened with Amon-Ra St. Brown yesterday? Mm-hmm. That affects what you're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. Yep. I know he got his feet up. Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, I don't take that seriously, because you can't tell me one thing and I'm seeing this doesn't display all in. And again, they might exemplify some type of all in tonight with how maybe they're aggressive in the draft. Maybe they ran some future picks. Maybe they do that. Yeah. But the lack of motion during your 2 free agents that you picked up last year when you were more aggressive were intricate to your team's success this year. What would you be without Stephon Gilmore if you weren't aggressive? Well, like, what would you be without a Brandon Cooks last year and within this offense? This was the first time in a long time I think we looked up and said, dang, like, okay, they really seem like they're going after it.
Yeah, and those trades were made before the draft.
Yeah,
so
it was important.
You knew that you had them.
Because you don't want to go into the draft drafting for need. Now you are, honey. Mm-hmm. Like, we can sprinkle some caramel and stuff on it all day, but it still is like, no, they are going to go BPA based on need. Yeah. So, like we talked about earlier, it might be a dope receiver there, and their board says this is their highest guy on their board. Yeah. But how can you ignore offensive line or center or whatever the case may be when you haven't addressed that prior to the draft? It puts you in a tough spot. Yeah. I know they're probably they're going to make me mad and draft well. I'm going to be pissed. But at the same time, the lack of movement in free agency it was concerning, because you have major needs. And not only that, you don't have a veteran at DT right now. Yeah. Seriously, like, I understand Osa is a fantastic 3-tech and stuff, but you don't have that hammer. Mm-hmm. Like, and so I don't know. I just feel like I didn't appreciate the sentiment of all in when I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Christy, what did you think?
I'm upset a little bit about it.
I don't want to ask you that again.
Don't ask me.
Well, that's the thing about with Jerry Jones. The follow-up question needed to be, how do you define all in?
Because that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last year felt more all in, did it not?
Well, because of Cooks and Gilmore and the like. But yeah, right now, of course, the Cowboys do consider free agent signings re-signing their own free agents. So the Jordan Lewises of the world and the Rico Dowdles. But in terms of bringing in outside free agents, right now it's Eric Kendricks and then Royce Freeman, and then you've lost 8 players. And I think that the thing that still kind of sticks in my craw the most is some of these key free agents that you lost were not super high paid. You know,
that sucks hearing.
When Hankins is leaving and he's getting a couple $100,000 more than if he had probably stayed here.
Ma'am.
You know, you can understand it when it's these big deals that they're getting, right? And it seems like it's not these huge deals. And it's guys, you know, like the Dorrance Armstrongs of the world who you've already kept past their original 4-year rookie deal. You know, they were already on second contracts, and then you lost them. Now, it's going to be great next year when you have these compensatory picks because these guys are going to hopefully thrive elsewhere and get a lot of playing time, but that doesn't help you right now, and that's what's frustrating.
What I gathered from the Allin comment was doing everything that they need to do to keep your Dak, your CD, your Micah, right? As far as being able to pay them. And that's why, you know,
I get your interpretation.
And I think that they're trying
That's why the follow-up question had to be, how do you define all in?
Exactly. And I know Stephen Jones did kind of like address that and say, hey, you know, I know Cowboys Nation isn't going to be happy until we win a playoff game and have success in the playoffs because they did have success with Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore bringing them in the offseason last year. So I don't know. I think the all-in statements have just got to go for now, in my opinion.
Well, the next question, you be there. You be there. You be there.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Mr. Jones, can you define all in? Because clearly our interpretation of all in.
Well, hopefully we don't have to ask that question after the draft, you know?
We'll see. I mean,
like seriously, I hope we don't
the
have to
other thing is,
ask that question.
after the draft, a lot of these veteran free agents who are still out there, who are sitting there,
You're right.
once teams have filled their holes in terms of drafting players, then those guys are going to start going off the market, right? And the Cowboys are going to be players in that. So the problem is, and this isn't just Cowboys Nation, it's all fans in every sport, and media too, we're impatient. And this is the long play. This is and it requires patience. And isn't that what Jordan Lewis and Damone Clark said?
He did.
You know,
Well,
basically, be patient.
I agree with you there, Christy, but I also think that like DT in particular, the ones you need, those veterans, the good veterans
They're gone.
You understand me? So
Gone. Sure.
All right, ladies. Well, we got another caller. We have Eric out of North Carolina. Eric, how are you doing? What do you have for us?
Hey, ladies, how y'all doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to get off work. So I just listened to you guys in my last hour. And I want to take time to give you your flowers, Aisha. I'm a regular listener to the draft show, and you do amazing work.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for all the content you provided me, all the insight you given me, and the insight you given all those fellas that you work with, too. You know, you definitely step up and challenge the guys around the room to think and dig deeper. So I definitely appreciate that. That's very good. And this is my first time calling to you guys. I just want to say you guys do great work, you know, and just keep up the good work, okay? So that's just want to start by saying that. I just want to quickly say, you know, through all we've seen, I'm going to reserve judgment and just let's see how things play out. I feel like this team feel like they have great young players on their roster already that they're grooming and continue to groom. One thing we always done pretty well is draft pretty good. So I'm just going to hold out judgment and see how things go. I will say this. I would love to see this team, if I had like an ultimate wish, how the first 2 days would go, if I see this team move back, pick up a pick, pick up an extra pick, and draft their two starting linemen to play on the line with, you know, Tyler Smith and those guys. And, you know, that would make me happy, you know, to pick up a tackle and pick up an interior lineman for the future with those first couple picks. You can just pick up some extra picks maybe by trading back. I'll be fine with all of that if I were to see that. That's probably my biggest concern is the offensive line, along with DT, of course. But I feel like everything else is going to work itself out. Go Cowboys, and ladies, keep up the good work, like I just said.
Look at Eric showing patience. Hey, Eric, before you hang up, I have a question for you, because you say you're in your final hour of work, but you're also watching and listening to us, streaming presumably. What is your job? You're not like a 911 dispatcher or something, right? I mean, because I'm worried that you're watching us and yet you're at work. So I just, what's the job? You're not an air traffic controller, are you?
I am not. I didn't make the grades to get that far, but I am a chef at I work at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. I'm one of the lead catering chefs. So I feed the football team, the chancellor, the basketball team, all athletics. So we got all our owners out for the day, so we're just kind of relaxing for the rest of the day.
Hey,
so.
you are behind the scenes, man. You know all the goings on there
I
at
do,
the athletic
man.
department.
We feed the football team for training camp. They come in the end of July and they stay until we go until the beginning of September basically, and we feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's awesome.
3 days a week, 6 days. I mean, 3 days, 3 meals a day, 6 days a week. It's a gauntlet. It's a hard grind from 4 a.m. to about 7 p.m. But we get it done, man.
Hey, God bless you. Yeah.
appreciate you. I'm
Hope you
sure they
guys
do
have
too.
great season next year football and right
We
now.
will.
And I know the
got
food good in North
softball
Carolina. Come on now. Oh, I know the food.
Oh
is
yeah.
bussin'.
They
It is. We did honey garlic wing. We did a wing bar today for the baseball team. So,
you call back in the summer and we'll argue over Texas versus Carolina barbecue. Okay.
Oh, don't make a scene.
Every time I come to Austin, I get into that same argument when I come out there, man. But Eastern Carolina barbecue is the best in the world, and we'll talk about it later next time.
Right. Thank you so much for calling
Thanks,
in.
ladies.
Thank
Good
you.
luck tonight with the draft coverage, you guys. And I'll be tuning in tonight, Aisha.
Thank you.
You got it. Talk to you later.
All right, shout out to our callers, but we've got to take our second break, ladies. We're watching Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We will be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Country Music's Party of the Year is back like never before. The Academy of Country Music Awards returns to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco May 16th. See the biggest stars in country music and watch unforgettable live performances. Limited tickets are still available now at SeatGeek.com. And don't know if you heard the news that came out in the last 24 hours, but this year's host is Reba McEntire. So we are super excited about that. You know, last year, first time it was here in Frisco at the Star, it was Dolly Parton and Garth Brooks. And it's like, man, how do you top that? Well, dang, we got Reba. So, and fun fact, she has a long history with the Cowboys. Cowboys Nation, you know what a big deal it is on Thanksgiving where we have the Salvation Army Red Kettle Kickoff. Mm-hmm. And this past year, Dolly did it. Well, the very first person to do that back in the 90s was Reba McEntire. So awesome. She is a very good friend of the Cowboys, and we're excited to welcome her back in May at the ACMs.
All right.
Reba.
Oh, she's awesome.
I know something about Reba.
And she's done. Gosh, I can remember her doing the national anthems for us. Some
Wasn't
games back in. Well, she had her own TV show, Reba.
That's what I'm about to say. That's where I know her
in,
from.
Oh yeah, movies, lots of TV.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
All right, we'll be welcoming in some new Cowboys players this week, ladies.
Where's the Nuggets?
Look at that transition.
I know, right?
Definitely gonna be.
Segue
We're
queen.
gonna get a running back. Segue queen. Come on, Christine.
No, we've talked offensive line a little bit. Some of the questions were defensive tackle associated. Let's talk running back. Yeah. And we actually heard from, of course, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and head coach Mike McCarthy with his thoughts on the evaluation of how this running back class is and if they can be an immediate starter coming into this room. Oh, Jazzy, we can't hear it. All right, we got a little technical difficulties. We're going to go back to that soundbite. But for now, Aisha, what's your thoughts on? Well, no. Let me ask you this: who do you feel can be an immediate starter out of this draft class coming into this room? Or is there one?
As a running back?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel very strongly like it's my favorite when I notice a player early and he ends up being who I thought he was. Marshon Lloyd out of USC, not super tall. He's 5'9", about 210. He went to South Carolina. He ended up transferring to USC. He averaged 7.1 yards a carry last season. This is a very shifty guy, and he does have the ability to run with power. He has strong legs. He has very strong legs. So even though you look at him, you're like, oh, he's just 5'9". Yep. No, that lower body strength allows him to power through tackles. He also is a willing blitz pickup guy, and we already know how important that is with how much the NFL starting to get into more of a passing game. Yeah. He'll pick up guys in pass pro. I think he'll really excel in a zone scheme because he has the shiftiness to bounce to the outside, get to the second level consistently, and his acceleration is real. The only thing about him is there at one point in time he had a few ball security issues, very small. It wasn't anything that was lengthy, but I think he could be there in the third round. I think this is a guy that could come in and contribute right away. He can do some things in the receiving game, but he plays with steady power and real speed, and I think that's a good balance of kind of what you need right now. Yeah. I will say, too, though, that Dallas had Dallas Day. And listen, one thing I've learned about the draft community already is Dallas Day is... You know, like you don't hear about some of these guys on Dallas Day and stuff like that because the Cowboys feel they want to keep those guys kind of close-knit. Yes. I would be surprised if there's maybe a running back or someone from Dallas Day that we have not even heard their names. Yeah. That may be a guy that they pick up in some of the later rounds or whatever that they still feel like is good, but they don't want the rest of the NFL to know about him because that's... It happens. It happens.
You play it close to the vest.
They
That's
play it
part
very
of the
close
game
to the vest
of the draft.
So Marshon Lloyd, of course, like I mentioned, but I would not be surprised if maybe, and it might be weird that they don't pick up a running back in these early rounds, but they say a guy's name on day 3 that we're like, who the heck is this guy? And he may really have like a higher
ceiling.
Yeah, like he might have been considered like a 5th round pick or whatever, but they found him. Yeah. And they wasn't trying to let nobody else know about him, which happens in this NFL. It happens in scouting. They will keep things close to the vest. So because I didn't know Jalen Brooks last year. No. Or Eric Scott. Like I didn't know either one of those guys, but you start hearing whispers and you're like, oh no, some people really valued this player as like a 4th round player prior to injury and stuff like that. So I just want to say that, with the running back position.
And we also need to just let people know when you say Dallas Day, it's not just players who played their college football within a certain area of Dallas. Of Dallas. It's got anyone who's from this area. So we're so talent rich here in high school football that so many of the best talent goes elsewhere, right, and plays with Power 5 schools that aren't nearby. But they are eligible for Dallas Day because of where they're from. And so, and like Aisha said, they keep it close to the vest because there have been some guys that, like you say, off the radar, and then they end up being some of the best, some of the best players that the Cowboys sign.
Can I say this tweet? Can I say this tweet that Todd Archer just dropped? Yeah. Kind of going back to what I said about the defensive, the idea that maybe some defensive players that we really like may fall. Todd Archer said, "What do the Cowboys do if the O-linemen they like are not there at 24, unable to find a workable trade down, and they are left with their top players being on the defensive side of the ball?"
I don't want to hear that.
Name to ponder: Mizzou edge Darius Robinson, who was a 30-day visit. Don't think he would be a linebacker option, but Darius Robinson, again, is a guy that I noticed very early in the process. Kyle asked us on the show, he was like, who do y'all think that, name a player that just plays with their hair on fire or is a little,
nuts.
And I was like, I think this guy's a little crazy.
He's the Mizzou
Yes,
rusher.
Mizzou. He's from Missouri.
edge
Yes,
rusher.
and this gentleman can play some 3-techs. He can move to 5-tech. He can move all the way out to the edge. He is impressive in his versatility and what he's able to do. He has a lot of size too. I mean, he's 6'5", 296. I don't know if y'all know what 300 pounds shouldn't look like that on that body. Like, he looks strong. And so that does allow him to play on the interior sometimes and also to bounce it to the outside. Just heavy motor, very violent hands, and how he don't like people touching on him, let me tell you. And he also, too, is one of the best edge defenders against the run in this draft. He has pass rush ability. But it just, again, circles back to... You start hearing it like that. Now I'm getting a little excited because you start hearing the whispers. But that it just circles back to how top heavy offensively this draft is, that we might see some names that we didn't expect to be there at 24.
Yeah, because a lot of the mock drafts have him late, more like high 20s or around 30 or so in some of these mock drafts. So, and we know that we were talking about free agent losses earlier. When you lose the Dante Fowlers and the Dorrance Armstrongs of the world, you need to refortify that rotation.
All right. Well, ladies, we have 6-7 hours until day one of the draft. We've got pod picks. Let's hear it. Who do you think the Cowboys are picking at 24? I've got Graham Barton. Hopefully.
Oh, that's what I had too. So, okay, I'll take BYU kid.
Okay. Who you got? Who you got?
Well, I mean, at this point,
are you going to take Robinson now?
At this point, I think respectfully, you have to take everything you hear on this day with a grain of salt. But I've been feeling like this the last couple of days. It's like, hey, an edge is something that is a sneaky need on this team. Sneaky. Yeah. You need somebody opposite of Tank, or to replace Tank as he gets older, or just somebody to play that run. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Darius Robinson.
This is the final year of Tank's current contract.
I'm a faint. I'm a faint.
Please don't do that.
He been so steady. Tank basically had his. I think last year was one of his best years as a Cowboy, and for him to have it this late in his career just shows you how much commitment he has to his body. So,
but it also shows the importance of a rotation and depth.
Yeah, and that also it showed up against Green Bay that they didn't have no rotation and depth because his legs.
All right,
continue.
Well, on that note,
Darius Robinson.
That's a wrap. We'll see y'all. Well, Aisha will see you all on the draft show. Make sure to tune into her.
I'll see y'all a lot.
Head out to the Tostitos Championship Plaza at 6:30 p.m. Players will be out there. They're making appearances. DC cheerleaders will be there as well. You'll have food, giveaways, and more, so make sure to head out that way. But that is a wrap for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We will see y'all after the draft.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!